For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We get our weekly groceries delivered through Instacart because once football season starts, game time is family time. I can get everything my family needs for the week, from reliable staples to specialty ingredients, all delivered right to my door in as fast as 1 hour. So I can stay on my game without missing a minute of the game. Visit instacart.com or download the app to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum order $10. Additional terms apply. Instacart. Add life to cart.
Welcome to the Foul Pole to Foul Pole podcast, brought to you by Black Diamond Softball and Fitness, presented by the Till Valhalla Project, where heroes live on forever.
I'm so excited. Anytime I get to talk softball, and it's been my passion pretty much my whole life in different ways along this journey. And so I love speaking about just my experience and advice and what I do for my own daughters in the softball world. So it's kind of been changing, as a player to now this mom, but I'm still a coach and different levels. So I love it all.
Well, take me back to when it started and this love kind of, took over and softball, like that was your journey. Like this is who I am. I'm a softball player.
Yeah. So growing up, I'll just kind of touch on it quickly. My dad, I wanted to play. I had an older brother that played baseball. And so I was kind of around and played a rec season at 6. And my dad was like, whoa, we got to turn this rec program around. Like these girls deserve better, right? Back in Title IX-ish days. And so he did. And so he was my coach. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be a pitcher. And he's like, you got to work at it. And so we had, ironically enough, we had a pitcher that we drafted this other girl for our rec team, and she needed to be with Courtney because Courtney needed her for rides. And we're like, okay, well, we got Courtney. Well, Courtney is now the coach for Arkansas. And so she was this pitcher. Wow. And so she was our pitcher. And we were so good. I'm like, Dad, I want to be like Courtney. I want to be the pitcher. And my dad's like, you are so wild. You don't practice. Right. So Courtney probably was my starter of motivating me to see what a pitcher really was. And so I worked at it, was really, kind of got it going on. And so that was kind of my experience. And then I went to travel when I was 11, and I was the right fielder. Courtney was one of the pitchers and another kind of a year older girl. And so I still practiced, busted my butt. I think that was the best year for me to say, if you want this, you got to really work, even though you're not getting your innings. Right. And which is not today's society. Everybody wants it now. And so putting that in me from the beginning was so good because I did. I sprinted behind first base. I was going to be the best right fielder. And when I got my innings on the mound, I was going to take advantage of them, And then that next year they moved up, and it was that was my year that I finally was shining. I was the starter. Yeah. And I got to see it. I think parents don't understand that when you get to sit back, when your daughter gets to sit back, she's learning, she's growing. Yeah. She wants it. It's not just given to her where she doesn't appreciate it. And so when they do get that opportunity, the growth there is so much more than somebody that's just always had it. Right. And so because I got to sit back and I got to learn from them and watch them and, oh gosh, full count. What did we do? Oh, they walked somebody. You have to let your daughter sit sometime and shut your mouth, and talk about what that looks like too. Mm-hmm. Talk about what does that look like? What'd you learn from watching Courtney today? oh gosh, she was so tough in the mound, or, I felt like, I mean, there's something that we can learn from every opportunity, and we don't, because we think about our own daughter.
Right.
And so, but anyway, sorry, I get go on tangent. So then I just started, like I played volleyball, I played basketball, I played every sport, but softball, I was like, okay, a little bit more in. Until 8th grade is when I kind of tried club volleyball at the same time. And it was a little harder. I remember my dad kind of being like, after my freshman year in high school, he was like, okay, which one are we going to kind of like really dig into? And so, I mean, I played volleyball as a varsity as a freshman, and I was so good. Courtney was on my team too. We were like these little, like, just like studs in every sport. But it was kind of like, what do you really want to do, And so obviously I loved softball, and I loved volleyball too. I was hoping to play my 5th year in college of just being on the practice squad, just so I could play it again, Yeah. But I mean, that was just kind of my journey. And I knew that by the time, 16 and under came around, where it was like, okay, kind of getting in that recruiting, it's different. Like, we didn't really, about your local college.
Yeah.
We didn't have softball on TV that we got to watch. We didn't have all these resources and all the social media to like see about different colleges. And so you weren't playing for college. You played because you just loved the game, and you loved your teammates, and you just grew your community together and you played in your community. We didn't, you didn't have travelers yet. Yeah. And so it was just fun time. Like, it was joyful, I loved to compete, but I loved being with people. Like, I love that. I love softball is a great sport. And I say it's wonderful for little girls to start, because it's like almost the only sport that half of the game you get to just be with your friends in the dugout and just kind of laugh and just, build those friendships. Basketball, volleyball, you're constantly on the court, you're running back and forth. You don't get that, like, hey, half the game, got to get some water and just like do some cheers, So it was in me. I loved it with my personality. High school, we were dominant. Like, we were ranked nationally. I think we had like 71 commits, like we were legit. And so then Fresno State won the World Series in 98. I verbaled in 99, and I was a hometown girl that just wanted, for me, they were a top program.
Yeah.
And I'm a homebody girl. And I loved that my parents went around this journey for me. My dad coached kind of every other year. Courtney's dad coached when I played up, and then kind of was nice for them to kind of get a year, take off a year, get a year of coaching, and then just be a parent.
I like that.
But I wanted them to enjoy my journey. It's like, gosh, they got me here, and then I'm just going to move away because we didn't have games on TV. They wouldn't have been able to see the games, right? So it was really important for me to share that experience, and Fresno was the top program, and so and I loved every minute of it. But yeah,
it's it's good to hear your story, because there's so many girls out there that I mean, they come about the pressure. Honestly, a lot of girls put the pressure on themselves because they want to perform at a high level. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, it seems like the parents are putting a lot more pressure on, their athletes, their children and stuff. And I think it's society, us as a whole, with, whatever sport you want to look at, it just seems like social media has put it to where we got to put highlights out there. We've got to put rankings out there, our stats, all of a sudden you're starting to see pocket radars. Hey, I hit this mile per hour. And it's really, you're just in competition with other parents. And I've always thought that when I had kids, I wouldn't treat them as accessories like handbags. And for me, a lot of times I see that, and it's like, you're only putting this out there on social media just for someone to see it, just so you can celebrate something, or you can put it out there. And I hate that. And travel balls like,
exactly. Right. I mean, let's call it like it is, right? They don't post the failures.
Yeah. And
they post the home runs, the holding the balls. It's like,
right.
It's great. But like, I know it's hard.
My biggest thing with my kids and what I do with Black Diamond, or here on Foul Pole to Foul Pole, I love the word failure because I teach from it. I teach from the word failure a lot because I think that word is powerful. And there's so many times that we talk about failure to where it's just this ultimate negative, but there's so much growth from that.
Oh
I want you to
gosh.
kind of expand on your growth when you were hitting plateaus and you were hitting these hurdles, and you were experiencing failure, and how it continued to push you until this, a elite level pitcher that you continue to work and get better.
Yeah. Well, I want to first say that I watched a TikTok video of this woman talking about her dad, and that every day she came home from school and her dad would say, "What did you fail at today?" Mm-hmm. And it became this normalized word of like, we fail every day. So how did you fail today? So I've started implementing that with my daughters because I have a perfectionist, right? My oldest is very like hard on herself. She doesn't want to feel bad. And so I'm like, you know what? We got to break her of this. We've got to make it so she knows it's okay to fail.
Right.
And that's part of the process. And so I said, "Charlie, how did you fail today?" She's like, "Oh, Mom, I could not get this math problem. Like we couldn't do it. And then I did it." And it's like, you get to be with them at the hard times, because I think when we talk about failure as from a parent's point of view, and my parents were wonderful. I had wonderful parents after games where I failed. And what are we doing for our kids through the hard, right? Because it's easy to be next to them, building them up, posting those pictures when they're successful.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's an easy parent role. What kind of parent are we when our kids are failing?
Right.
Are we talking about it for 2 days? I'm not perfect. Like sometimes it bothers me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like how did she do it? Like, are we teaching them that that's okay? Are we giving our kids the grace so then they say, I can give myself grace?
Right.
Like today was a bad day. We've had pitchers at Oregon State where last week, one was sick. She had COVID the week before. So of course we know she's not going to come back and be 100%. Her body's still like, she's been out and she's so hard on herself. She's a perfectionist. And so she comes out and she pitches. And of course it's not pretty.
Right.
And they look to me.
It's crazy.
They look to me and they want me to be like, that wasn't okay. And I'm like, it's fine. You're okay. You're right where you need to be. Like, and they learn to then say, gosh, it's okay to fail around Jamie.
Yeah.
Right. We scrimmaged.
They're scared to fail because I think that's what we've done. And then now it's like, we have to reassure them. And you're like that mama role, like, hey, hold on just a minute. If you don't fail, how are you going to learn how to push past this stuff and understand? Absolutely. So we had one yesterday in the scrimmage. She gave up a home run. So after the inning's over, she walks over. I don't love to talk to my pitchers every inning. That's their game. If I have something that is important to say, I'm going to go say it. But I'm not one that's like, so how did you feel that inning? Did everything like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not me. So I just kind of sit back and she comes over and she taps my shoulder. I did so bad. I go, you had one pitch in that whole inning. Like, how is that where you view your whole inning as bad? Yeah. And so that's that grace where that she comes out and she knows like home runs aren't bad, I'm like, this is the time to do it. Did you learn? It's like, you got full count and what'd you do? She's like, I didn't want to throw a ball. And I said, I know. So when you call that rise ball on a full count, we're taking the risk that we want to pop them up, swing and miss, foul ball. If we walk her, big deal, because that's why we called that pitch. And she's like, yeah, I was afraid, so we grew right there in that failing moment to say, in a game, if we call that rise ball on a full count, I'm not wanting you to throw for a strike. I want you to go for the strikeout. That's the risk that we're going to take. And so now she knows I can take risks without this punishment, without this failure feeling. Yeah. But she had to fail in practice for us to grow through that. Yeah. So, my one story that I've told before that I really remember in college, I had low ERAs, like 0.4, like really legit. And so I didn't have games where I gave up more than 2 runs. A 2-run game, I was like, dang, they got me, This game at Stanford the umpire was just so tight. It was when Jessica Mendoza was playing, and they were a great program, great team. We were always super competitive. But this game, I gave up 5 runs.
And I remember walking off the field, feeling a little defeated. I mean, I'm competitive, so I'm A, kind of like upset that happened. B, what just happened? Because this didn't happen often. So I'm kind of trying to assess, like, was it me? Was it them? Like, what happened here? And I walk up to my dad and he's like, they got you today, huh? He just gave me the hug, and it was like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But it came from my parents.
Right.
If my dad would have said, well, what'd you do? Why didn't you do it? Blah, blah, blah. Then I would have gone home just being freak out mode, analyzing, right? But he was that leader in that moment. So as parents, we are such in this role in our players' journeys to really change their game.
Yeah.
Because we know that softball is a mental game. We know that I think Coach Berg here at Oregon State said that she read about something where they stopped the stopwatch every single time the pitch started. And then if there was a play, the whole game is like 5 minutes long.
Yeah. Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
So we play this game around 5 minutes, just say less than 10 minutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're expected to be, it blows your mind. I'm like, I'm going to challenge this because this doesn't seem right.
But that makes total sense. And their whole life exists around that too. And I mean, no wonder they're under so much pressure.
I know, right? You got to be perfect in 5 minutes, but it's like drawn out. You get to think about your failures. And so, parents play the biggest role of the youth softball and how, because I will tell you this, I have been around college girls for 2 years now, and most of them are hot messes in the mind. They go like this. They hit good. They're oh, hey girl, like, oh, you're okay. Like, you'll get her next time. They're so like happy, just laughing. They come back from a strikeout and they're like in the corner sulking. And it's like, how do we do this? Why can't we just be competitive to say like, oh, freaking, she got me. Like, I'm going to get that pitch. Like, she thinks she can throw that again. Like, where's the fight? They don't know how to fight as well. They don't know because it's just, they ride this emotional wave.
Yeah. And they don't experience, some do, but for the most part, when they get to that elite level, that Power 5, that D1, or, I mean, we can talk NA, IA, or we can talk JUCO. It's like getting to that level. I mean, you've always been, at some point, you've gotten to the cream of the crop of that age group and that level. So it's just come easy to them. Once you get to a certain point, it may not happen until you get maybe to the national team or you're playing professional, whatever your ultimate goal is. When you finally face adversity, and then that's like, boom, I'm 24 years old, or I'm 18 years old, whatever your age is, when you finally hit it. And now there's a whole nother wave of learning because you didn't learn that at 12 or 14 because that wasn't a part of your development. And it happens, and you see it. I mean, you see it right now in college, just in that scrimmage, that, she's still learning to develop that aspect of her game. And like you said, the mental side of it is huge. And I hope parents take this from this podcast episode and just kind of reset and hear it from you, because I talk about it all the time. And I'm just a dude with a beard, never played softball, but they hear it from someone like you. It's just like, hey, wait a minute. I've got a 9-year-old that's learning how to pitch, and she gets so frustrated.
I think the key words for parents that, my husband and I we'll be sitting around and we're like, what's one thing that you want your daughters to learn from sports? Mm-hmm. What is the one thing? Because he played college football. And so for me, it's, I want them to find a way, right? Like, that's whatever the situation is, whatever the game, like, find a way. The mound sucks, find a way. Right. Like, you're tired, find a way. It's cold, find a way, because you got to fight. You got to compete. You got to find a way to beat the batter. The umpire sucks and is giving you nothing. Find a way to get some outs. But when it gets hard, that's when the cream of the crop goes. So if parents can teach their kids to fight through things, to do the hard, get to the hard and push through, they're going to be cream of the crop right there, because 85%, they don't do that.
Right.
And it's like, so I encourage you parents to like talk through what is the one thing that you want. Maybe it's just like you want your kid to be able to work together as a team, to be a teammate, to be a good, because in the work world, they're going to have to work. Relationships are important. Like everybody has their different thing of, what do you want your kids to get from you sports?
Right.
Like for me, it's not championships. That's the good part. That comes from the whole process. Like I want them to fight.
Yeah.
I want them to fight. And I use the words when I'm working with my pitchers, I put subtle words in like every day. I'm like, they'll just tell a story or they'll do this. And I'm like, did you have to fight through that? Because I put that word in their mind, fight, after a scrimmage and it's my turn to talk. I'm like, you guys had to fight today. She didn't have her stuff. She's been sick. And like, you guys have to fight and like, make her feel like you guys got her back, and it's putting the words in because they didn't grow up that way. They grew up with fend for yourself, post your own successes. Like, how did you do today? Oh, you did that. They made a lot of errors. That's why you lost. It's like your team's making errors, find a way. Maybe you have to pop them up more or get more spin on your ball or right. Like this side is making errors. Can we pitch to this side? Find a way to do it. And they don't know that. They don't know. And so if that's one key that I'm so glad that I coached at this level is to know how to make my kids stand out as they go through whatever sport they play.
Yeah.
Because it is, you want to be cream of the crop. It's just raising them differently.
Yeah.
To be honest.
You're coaching at the highest level and recruiting at the highest level and you're seeing tons of talent. You guys are chasing the same top talent, right? I mean, we're splitting hairs here when we're talking about top talent. Now I get it. There are unicorns out there and we all see the unicorns, but you guys are still chasing the same top 10, top 15 players. So there's something that has to set these athletes apart that says, okay, I like this one over this one. And that comes from their character. It comes from their makeup because, I mean, you can find someone that can throw 70 and it's got a couple of different speeds and stuff like that. And we can work with her to work within our defense. We can find this girl that's a slapper and we can figure out because we see that athleticism. When it comes to the recruiting side of this journey, not just the athletic side, but we're talking about the recruiting, trying to get them there. Coaches, they're not just looking at your stats and your numbers and you can hit the ball far, you can run fast. It's that character makeup. So can you speak on that just a little bit when it comes to what you guys or what you look for personally when you're trying to find that right recruit to maybe fit your mold?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, what you said is all real, right? We're trying to find the best. And a lot of that is on their performances. Like, do they hit the hardest? Do they get good jumps on, is their skill level great? Yes. That's what catches our eyes for sure. But when you have, we've had recruits come where I'm just like, oh gosh, I think she's going to come and her focus isn't going to be softball in college, right? Like there's different things that kind of, you're giving the college, you're showcasing it yourself, that can make or break you. And a lot of it is, for me, I love to kind of know the parents a little bit and not saying like, we all say that, oh, the parents can be, difficult and ruin it for players. And that is true. That is true if you're extreme where, but I think for me, it's how does the parents, they'll come on the recruiting trip and how do they talk about their daughter? Right? Are they spitting truth out? Are they like, oh man, or is it all just like building her up because now I know she's not going to be able to see her own truth.
Right.
Right. So when I have to have those like, hey, this pitch, we got to drop it. She's going to be like, what? That pitch is bad. Like, yeah, it is, So I love to just get to know the parents. I think the parents, now that I'm in that role and I know what my parents looked like, I can kind of get a good feel of maybe how this player was brought up. We do want to see like in the games, like from the pitching standpoint and any, right? I mean, you could strike out. It's like batters strike out all the time. Like even if you're a college coach that you want to be there and you just made an error, they know that happens and they want to see how you bounce back. They want to see your fight. They want to see, do you make adjustments? A lot of batters struggle to adjust to a pitcher. They like to swing the same way that they've swing the bat since they're 10 years old, and so it's that find a way for me, because that's important in my journey. I felt like that's what made me elite. But it's like, can you find a way to get this big batter out? Can you find, she beats you? Big deal. I want to see the next time at bat how you handle her. Are you fearful and you walk her because you're scared? That's like we can work it, but it's like, oh, that's a big no-no, right? Because that's no fight. That was like, I don't want her to hit it again. And like, oh, go at her in a different way, So those things are important. But there's a lot that we don't expect players to be their best when they're 16. We know. Right. Coach Leba tells me all the time, because sometimes I'm like, I don't know about this player, and he's like, Jamie, she's got 2 more years, plus then you get to work with, and so it puts it into perspective. Mm-hmm. Being a pitching coach for 18 years, like for me, I'm like, I can make anybody better, so I like the pitcher that has the few qualities that I'm like, I can get her this pitch, or I can, she has this. Okay, that's legit. I can get her this, it's like that puzzle for me, because, Oregon State's always been the school that can compete. But in the Pac-12, you have UCLA, you have some of the schools that are going to get maybe the bigger and better recruit. Mm-hmm. And so we get to coach them up. We get to continue to develop them, because they shouldn't be the best pitcher at 17, 18, right? You shouldn't even be the best pitcher at 22, because now you're finally getting it. Like you finally get it. And I was so fortunate to play past my college, where I just was better. You're still kind of learning in college. It's another level of all-star play that you're still trying to figure out. And then it's like your senior year and you're like, I finally get it. And then it's done. So for me, I love making pitchers grow and develop. That's my job. I'm the coach. Yeah. And a lot of colleges out there, they just want to recruit what they have, and they have what they have and they just go with it. So for the recruiting purpose on the other end, do your research in the coaches. Look at numbers from a senior to say, what was she like as a freshman and sophomore, junior? Did she grow? Did she develop? Ask those questions, because that's the time to grow, is in college.
I don't want to get too deep into this part of the recruiting element, but there's a huge thing going on right now where there's like not a new way of these PSAs are going about getting recruited. Mm-hmm. Social media is huge right now. And you'll see coaches that say, hey, at me on Twitter or send me on social medias and stuff like that. So I know there's different opinions on this. Yeah. In talking as a professional, and in your professional opinion, what do you prefer, and what do you think most would prefer if it comes to just randomly tagging coaches and hoping something hits? Yeah. Or going about the traditional way of trying to build a relationship, making sure that you've done your research. And then once there is some type of connection at that point, then the kind of relationship, and you're able to tell what you should do.
Okay. So, I'm 41 years old, and the coaches with me here are older than myself. So technology is not something we grew up with, like how it is now. So Twitter, I have a Twitter. I might look at it 4 times a year. And I'm being straight up honest, because I don't get it.
I think I followed you on Twitter.
You tag me on Facebook. I get Facebook.
Right.
Instagram, I still don't know what fully happens, but I have some people that'll send me messages on Instagram. And so, I look at them. They'll post them pitching or whatever. And I look, and I'm more the relational though. I want to, but that's my personality. So I think it's important to find out the coaches, the schools that you really want to go to,
right.
Who are they as a person? Because that matters. If they're all business and just straight to details, Twitter probably is perfect for them. They don't love that talk, or they don't love that okay. But I mean, I'm a mom. So like, I get that my daughters are going to be the same position to be like reaching out and, it's a scary process of rejection or all that. And so for me, it's like, I want to connect. I'd love to see you at a camp because that's the way that I'm going to be like, like, okay. And then it's like, let's make sure we go watch her when we're at these tournaments because she's already caught my eye. So, and some will send videos through that, it's hard to watch a 2-minute video of you in a game. Like, I don't know if the team you're facing is really that great, like, so it's like, okay, you can get some strikeouts, but who are we playing really? Okay. I would love to see the videos of behind your pitching, and I want to see if your pitches move.
Yep. Right.
I want to see, do you know what you're doing with these pitches? That catches my eye. Okay. I don't even need to know the speed fully. I can tell with the boom, boom, like, I'm like, okay, I heard that sound going, dun, dun, like it's there.
Every day, my company gets scam phishing emails trying to get money or sensitive info. I wanted to protect my employees and my clients, so I checked out CISA's Secure Our World. They've got simple ways we can protect our businesses from online threats. First, teach employees to recognize and report phishing. Next, require strong passwords plus multi-factor authentication. And finally, turn on automatic updates for your business software. To learn more, go to CISA at cisa.gov/Secure Our World.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
But I want to know. And so for that, that's important.
Yeah.
I've always said too, it's like, post on your sports recruiter, however you do. Your Twitter is still important because other coaches do Twitter. Mm-hmm. But post like, hey, we're facing this batter, and this batter is committed to Arkansas. And, I struck her out, she lined out, and she got a double. Like, okay, so you can compete with these top players that are going, like, that catches my eye. I don't care if they've given up a double, show it all. Like, show me the truth, because then I'm like, oh, she can deal with truth. She can put her weakness out here. I like that. We all have weaknesses, right? And so that, then I'm like, okay. And then it's another one. Oh, we played Firecrackers, Rico, and this girl's going to this school. And this is what I did off of her, 2 ground balls. And I'm like, okay, like, that is what, I can't be there at all those games, but that's impressive.
Yeah.
Versus just watching me in my high school, what they're posting is not always the truth, right?
There needs to be context to it. I mean, I think that's what a lot of coaches miss with the Twitter, and that, there's some schools that it helps them also get some promotion because they're getting tagged and it's hitting the Twitter algorithm, and there's different things that goes with that. But it needs to be context. Just, hey, this was a tournament we played last weekend in Durham, North Carolina. You don't know what sanction it is. You don't know what's going on with it. So the footage is grainy. And, hey, I see you hit a home run.
So far back. Yeah.
So I get why people do it. And I've talked to a couple of different scouts and recruiters and other coaches and people that kind of are in charge of their travel organization's recruiting process. And there's no clear cut way. It's like you said, like, you prefer this over this, and other coaches prefer that. Yeah. There's no science to it. I would say if the college that you're tagging has a younger coach, go for the technology part 100%. But if you're kind of trying to be recruited by a school that has like a legendary coach that is a little bit older, like, I'm just trying to speak truth. Like, they're probably not with it on Twitter. Yeah. I mean, those are facts, and that's a good question to ask. Like, if you go to the camp, get to know the coach. That's going to stand out to me and be like,
I know that we would all laugh and we'd be like, it's the truth though. Like,
Yeah. It's,
I don't know.
and that's a
So
part of that developing thing. Yeah, I've talked a couple of different times about kids these days just don't know how to carry on a conversation. Like me and you being able to talk, their heads are down. They can't make eye contact. Everything is in their phone, and they'd rather text you from the other room. Or like my soon to be 13-year-old daughter, she still won't order her food at a restaurant, and we'll just turn around and I'll embarrass her and be like, she can hear you. You just have to tell her. And so to make her at least talk to these people, because we're stuck in our phones and we don't know how to communicate one-on-one. It's crazy.
I know. I mean, that's a big thing. Like you said, like recruiting is like their game's over. The first thing they grab are their phones. Like, I mean, because that's going to happen here, right? We get off the bus and you're going to go eat dinner. Are you going to be with your teammates or are you going to be on the phone? It's like, I think there's a balance. I don't think it's like, don't grab your phone, but at the same time, be with your teammates. These are the funnest memories. Like, this is why I played, was because in between games, we just got to joke and talk and we weren't consumed with a phone, So it is matter. Like having conversations is important, We have a recruit that just committed that their parents both played D1 sports, D1 softball, D1 baseball. And you're like, I know that A, I can get her better. And I know B, she's raised the right way, and it's just, and some parents don't have that luxury. And that's why they listen. That's why they learn to say, okay, I wasn't an athlete, but how can I help my daughter? Right.
Yeah.
These are the things.
Loosen the reins a little bit and let coaches, let these mentors help develop them from where you developed them to this point. Now let me continue that and help out, because we don't want, what you've done go to waste now, because we got it to a certain point and then we don't know where to go. We got squeaky wheel gets the grease. You gotta speak up. You gotta be looking for that information and help. I mean, that's what, living and growing is all about. And how much did you grow from, your collegiate days? And then here you go out there, you're getting drafted, you're playing professionally, you're playing, how much did you grow when you took that next step? Because a lot of girls are just going to stop at college, but then it's like, well, wait a minute, I can keep going with this.
Yes. Like you said, I grew up where the beginning of my career was a little like I had to fight for that spot. And then I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm looking around like we're winning. Okay, I'm really good. And had those moments. And, my freshman year in college, I was nervous and I don't know. And then I was first team All-American. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I had the lowest ERA and I'm my freshman year. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm good. Yeah. Like I had those moments, right? Because I just played the game. Like I just wanted to compete. I didn't play for the stats or this, but when I got the stats, I'm like, holy moly. And then when I got to the USA team, let me tell you this, my first pitch with the USA uniform on to Italy was a screwball that got hit for a home run. And I was like, WTF, like, what? And I'm having freak out moments on the mound that I never had before. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to cross off my name. Like this just ended, like I had all those like, oh my gosh, the real feelings. So I think going beyond college really helped me. It's just another elite level. Right. And so it's like, you never feel like, you're playing at that level, but now it's like, oh my gosh. And so these feelings, I'm so glad I did, because it's hard to say I was an elite and I can't connect with these players that have fears and struggle and have to overcome, because I didn't have to do that every day, right? Mm-hmm. It wasn't part of my journey all the time. And so when I got to the USA team, it was, I played with a little bit more fear than I ever did in my life, because I was like, if I give up a run, like I'm done. And I had those little like fears come in, or I had a coach one summer on the USA team that gave every other pitcher an at bat but me. And I batted in the 2, 3, 4 spot in college, right? So I was like, I must not be that good. And I had those doubts coming in. I'm like, who am I? This is not me, But I'm so glad, because now I can relate and tell my stories to my players to say, I get it. I understand them. How can we control them? Right. And so it's a fun journey. It's a fun journey because it's a lot of ups and downs and maneuvering and building your character and confidence. And as parents, for our daughters, all we want them to do is, for me, I want them to compete at whatever they do and have passion and something in their life. But I want them to be confident. I want them to stand tall. I want them to not be fearful of things or failing, because that's how we grow. And softball is what allowed me to be this confident woman now, that I can now lead others to teaching them. I give them the grace. My focus and philosophy on coaching, because, like we were talking about before, I got into coaching. This is my second year. I'm 41 though. I played at all the levels, but I've been a stay-at-home mom and I'm giving lessons, and my youngest is almost 5. And that's where I was like, my husband was so wonderful to say, like, this is your season. What do you want to do? And I said, I want to see if I love college. And he said, okay, well, if we're going to move to a place that's like has mountains. And so I said, okay. So Idaho State it was, and pitchers there were wonderful. Like, they just were sponges. Every pitcher that was returning got better, like a 7.6 ERA down to a 3, like tripled her strikeouts, like had 6 more complete games, because there's room to grow.
Mm-hmm. Every level.
Oh, and I just was like, I remember my first, every level, it doesn't matter. And I went to my first recruiting in Oklahoma, and first person I see is Lisa Fernandez. And so I played with her on the USA team. And so she's like, Jamie, what are you doing here? And I'm like, Jamie's back in the game, And I was so excited because I was like, oh my gosh, right? Like, I love this game. And the game had changed. And I was like, what is this game? What are we doing? Why, the Idaho State coach, he was like, so are you going to give them the sign and then the location and then 1 ball off, 2 balls off? I'm like, I'm not telling them where to put the ball off. He's like, yeah, but you just have to do it. Like, that's just what they want. I'm like, my job is to teach them in the fall where to put that according to the batter, according to the situation, according to the score, according to the umpire. Like, they are going to learn it. That's my job to teach them, because I'm not going to make them robots. That's not how I played. And that's taking the fun away from them. Let them be the pitcher, let them find a way to get the batters out. And so the game was different, but I'm like, I'm sticking by, like, I'm not changing the game very much, from my belief. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like the pitchers love that, and they're growing. Just different people, they'll say like, gosh, ever since you said this, the batters be whiffing. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, seriously, that's all you had to do to get batters to whiff. So, I love it, but it's like they haven't grown up thinking the way that I was able to think.
Right.
And now I'm just trying to teach that, so I'm trying to teach that on our little YouTube channel and just like a different way to think, like,
what's your, I got to ask you, what is your favorite memory of just this little bit of coaching that you've done, like, so far? Like, what's the biggest thing that has stood out to you since you've gotten back into the game and you've been coaching now for a little bit? What sticks out to you the most? It's like, you know what? I made the right decision. I this is what I wanted, and I've made the right decision to come back.
I feel like selfishly, I'm fulfilled. Like, as a stay-at-home mom, I loved it, but I didn't love it. It wasn't my purpose to make beds every day and to figure out what I'm going to have for dinner at lunchtime. And so for me, I'm just like, oh, like, I love it. I love it. But the parts that I love, I'm a relational person. And so for me to get to work with a smaller group within the team to build those relationships, I've always gone in through it is I'm going to love my pitchers first, and I'm going to coach them second. And that's just who I am in general. And so I love to see that they're comfortable with me. I love that I give them advice. They can take it or not. I tell them it doesn't, like, hey, if I suggest something, try it for 3 to 5 pitches. Like, if you don't love it, like, that's okay, because you have to commit to it. So that they're open, and it's this easy relationship to getting them, continuing to get them better. And when they have those aha moments, or they throw a changeup that they've been working on to get more consistent in the game, and they're like smiling, I really am like their mom. Like, I'm so proud of them, and it hurts when they're failing. And it's like all those, to me, it's not a business. Like, hands down, I can't be that way. To me, I am their mom away from home, and I'm their pitching coach, and I love that. I love that. I care for them. I think about them on the weekends. How can I get her better? How can I do this? Because of those moments that I want to create. Right. And am I competitive? Yes. Selfishly, like, I want to be a great pitching coach. I want their numbers to get better, because then I'm like, I'm good at what I do. And if I wasn't good at what I do, I probably wouldn't do it. Right. Man. So to me, it's like, I got goals for myself for these pitchers. And I'm like, she's got to get this. Because if she gets this, she gets more innings. Her ERA is going to go down. And then last year, like, yeah, look at what we did over here. You want to come play for Oregon State, you're going to get better. You want to get better? Come, and you're going to be cared for, and you're going to be loved. And we're going to do it the right way, because I have daughters. Yeah. And I want someone to care for my daughter, but
that's what parents want. Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what we as parents want. And it's you having younger ones. And then there's I have a 15-year-old. I want that for my daughter. And then there's someone out there that's in the very end of their recruiting journey. They've committed, they're ready to go. Those same parents want that coach that they know my kid is going to be taken care of. And
it doesn't happen at every school. And that's sad. It doesn't. And it should. That's why we're in it. But, it's a business. It's coach's livelihood.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Job for them. And so sometimes, that's the focus. And it's not my focus. I don't do it for, like, I could be a stay-at-home mom, like, I don't have to work, and I work because I want to be here, and I love to be here, and I want to freaking win, so let's find a way to win. So that's my philosophy. So go play for Oregon State.
I appreciate you. I mean, when we first started talking before we started recording this, and I gave you the piece of my background, I gave you my why behind it. And we were talking about your why as well. Just continuing this. I mean, it's a part of who you are. I mean, we can look at your stats and being the collegiate player of the year finalist and being, the freshman of the year in the WAC. You led the NCAA and ERA and stuff. And those accolades are great because you work for them. You put it in, you have the pedigree, but you're just not sitting on and saying, hey, yeah, this was me. And then you move on from it. You're taking your journey, and you're putting it back into as many athletes as you can, not just collegiate athletes, but athletes that you work with.
Yeah.
And I thank you for all of us that we look up to leaders like you, and we appreciate you giving back to this huge community that is softball.
Yes. No, I'm loving every minute of it. I'm loving that my daughters get to witness great softball, right? But they also get to see the dream for them, whatever sport that it may be. I'm to be honest, I'm out in Corvallis by myself, and my kids are in Austin with my husband, and it just, was a crazy, they had to start school. I committed here a month later with my contract here. So we just kind of were like, oh, let's just let them be stable and try to figure everything out. But so I haven't seen them for next week. I'll see them at LSU, and it'll be 4 weeks without them. And they are so excited. I'm so excited, but I'm so excited to see my kids, but also for them to be in the dugout and to just witness the friendships, witness the fight, witness the game. And they are so excited. Coach Berg, Laura here, is like amazing leader. And she's like, bring your kids. So they're like going to be riding on the bus to the games. And, my little almost 5-year-old Perry Jo, she's like, I said, who are you going to sit by, on the bus? And she's like, Tarney. Like, she loves Tarney, my pitcher from Australia. I think it's her accent, but and then you have my 7-year-old who's like just a competitor, big hitter. She wants to sit with Frankie, the home run hitter, and it's like, that's what I'm so excited about, is because I get fulfilled myself, but also my daughters get to see their mom doing what they love. And it's my season right now. And like my husband puts it into perspective, we all have seasons, right? And one time it's going to be Charlie's season. And as a family, we're going to support her. And so I think, like, as parents, when we always make it around our own kids, right? We grow up and it's like, okay, you got to do this, you got to do this. It's like, how are they growing up that it's all about them, So we really try to focus. It's a weird time in this year of this that we've gone through, but to be able to say, like, what's best for the family is really been our core kind of value. Mm-hmm. And right now, what's best for our family is to let mom like do her thing and see if she loves it, and to see that passion. And are there ups and downs with my kids and myself, like, throughout the week? Of course there are.
Right.
But I think that when we can come back to being a strong family and having those values, it's teaching my kids so much, that, hey, like, we do things for our family. And so, I grew up and my brother was going to one tournament, I'm going to another tournament. And I never felt we were just together. And so as we go and enter into this travel ball world one day soon, of whatever sport that may be, we want it to be a family. And it's hard. Travel ball doesn't create those, as much, because it's all the time. And so you got to find those times to be with your people and to build those relationships within your own family. And so it's just what I'm, my players here know the sacrifices that I do, because I'm real, I'll cry and say, I'm having a bad day. Like, Charlie's crying. She didn't go to school this morning, she's, and they're just like, Coach, can we give you a hug? And I'm like, yes, because we're at the ups and downs together, And so, sorry, I'm just blurting now, but I look at what travel ball and what softball brought for me and my family, my parents, and the relationships were wonderful. Not every player has that relationship with her family through softball.
Right.
And it's wasted opportunity. So I encourage the parents that are hard on their kids or expect too much, or, don't expect the outcomes. Expect them to hustle hard, have a good attitude, be respectful, be a good teammate. Expect those things, and then let them play the game. Right. And because you're going to grow up, are they going to want to move away from you, or are they going to want to live near you?
Exactly.
I want my kids to live near me. Right. And so I want them to be like, gosh, I want them to go away, but I don't,
I've got one that was born in North Carolina. And then I got stationed in Twin Palms in California. She was born at this little old bitty Naval Hospital, and she's my California baby. And I know that one, as soon as she can get out, she's gone. But she'll be my one that goes and plays at Hawaii or something. So
I know my oldest too. I'm like, she just doesn't need me. My mom goes, Jamie, she's just independent, and that's a good thing. And I'm like,
yep.
I know, I'm just not ready for that. She's only 10. I'm already like freaking out.
Well, I know a lot of my followers are going to want to keep up with you now after being able to connect and find out, who is Jamie, when do you guys get rolling with this? I know everybody's kind of start dates, their opening day and stuff like that is a couple of days or whatever. So what's the early part of your schedule looking like, and when can we find you?
Yeah. So our first weekend is next weekend. And that's at LSU. And then we go to Phoenix and Arizona State the following weekend. And then the last weekend in February, we're at the Mary Nutter in Palm Springs. And then we go to St. George the first weekend in March. And so we're kind of all around, So, I mean, if there's some young players out there to come watch some good softball, I mean, that's the best thing that you can do is just, if you had to practice yourself or go watch some elite players play, like go watch them play. It gives them the dreams. It gives them the love again. It gives them their why. Like, I want to be like that. I want to. And so, and then we start conference, and then it'll kind of dig in, and it's a tough conference. And I think it's good, right? We want the ups, downs. We want to build that character, and we want to build that fight. And so that carries you into the postseason. And so, I'm excited, that's what every season brings, right? All the emotions. And that's why we play, is because it fulfills us. Like, it gives us the good, it gives us the bad. We want to go back out there more. We're not satisfied. Ooh, this is a good high. Like, right. It's such a great game. It's such a great game. And so come find us, like, say hi. Like, I love it. And I was there. My dad would take me out of school in 8th grade because it's before that Fresno State had lights. And so they played at 1 and 3. And so every once in a while, my dad would surprise me and like pick me up early, and we'd get to go watch college softball. And I loved it. Like, my hero was Maureen Brady, Tom Brady's sister. And she was an All-American for Fresno State. And she was spunky, man. And I just love that fight in her. And I got to dream. But that's what my dad gave me by just taking me to the game. Right. So, and look I went there. So he got his little wish fulfilled by me staying close to home. But, so come say hi, come like reach out. We have obviously recruiting rules. And so, I can't always like respond if you're of a recruitable age to emails or to things like that. But know that I see them, and we post a ton of stuff. We have like SpinDr softball, and so you can find me on TikTok. I speak a lot of truth about pitching, things that you don't want to hear, things that you need to hear, and just things that helped me grow. So it's just my advice. It's like stuff that you don't know until you hear it. And so we have products. I mean, I want to make the pitching world let's make pitching great again, because it's become this offensive game, which is wonderful. The balls are a little bit more lively. The bats are lively. The zone has gotten a little bit tighter. And so it is become more of a hitter's game, but I think pitching can still get better. I think the movement can get better. I think this can get better. This is the number one thing that's lacking. We have a lot of robotic pitchers out there. And so on TikTok or Instagram, if you go to the SpinDr, we teach this. It's like, come on, like think differently. Think like an elite All-American pitcher. And we have products to help get the spins better. And I just love it. I'm passionate. I want to help every single pitcher out there. And because it's their journey, right? And they only have so many years to give confidence and like, don't waste a season, don't waste it, get it now, and like helping them with the game plan. And that's just kind of what we do. So if you're a Facebook follower, because like me, if you're older, we have the weekly dose. If you follow the weekly dose, and with that, what we do is we give out a workout of the week every single week for free. We just want pitchers to train better. And instead of going out there and say, I'm gonna go through all my pitches and okay, let's do a few batters. It's like, no, let's really dig in. And so these are workouts that I grew up loving, but also that I do here at Oregon State. And just, like an example that I'm going to do with my pitchers today is we're going to take away their best pitch. What's your best pitch? They're going to say drop curve. Okay. So let's throw and get some batters out. You can't use your best pitch though, because I want them to see that they can be successful without their go-to. And if they can't, then we got some work to do, right? It speaks the truth of like, hey, you're getting 3 and 1, you're getting like, we got to work on your number 2. Yep. What are we doing? Right. But then when they don't have that pitch in a game, they don't freak out. They're like, I've done this before. Yeah. I'm still really good with my 2 and 3, So it's workouts like that. So, and that's all free. So if you're Facebook Weekly Dose, and we have on YouTube, we talk about topics. And so, it's just what we're doing, but I love it.
I appreciate you coming on, Jamie. I know you are super busy. We are, like you said, we're starting this season over right away, and you got a lot of stuff going on. I will make sure that I link everything that we talked about down in the description below, and make sure that you guys can get to her YouTube channel. Make sure you're following Oregon State. It's going to be a great year. I know there's so many people that cannot wait. And I don't know if you've ever been to Palm Springs before or not. When you get to the Mary Nutter,
I haven't.
Try not to spend too much money.
Why? Just all the fan stuff.
There's all kind of stuff. There is all kind of stuff around that area, Matt. We when I was in Twin Island Palms, we weren't too far from there. So good luck to you guys this season. I know like you said, it's going to be a tough season. There's going to be ups and downs and stuff, but at the end of the day, you're going to be growing and helping these young ladies develop.
That's why we play.
That's it.
That's why we played, right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you so much, too.
All right, so that's going to wrap it for this episode. Big shout out to Jamie for joining me today. It was a lot of fun to catch up with her. She's super busy right now, getting everything tuned up for the season. Oregon State is poised to make a run this year. Be on the lookout for the pitchers. She's an elite level pitcher. She always has been. 4-time All-American. Even led the NCAA twice in the lowest ERA. So she knows how to throw that ball. She's teaching those girls. If you haven't followed her on the social media yet, make sure you're checking out SpinDr Softball. A lot of great products, a lot of great training videos. So I'm going to link her down in the description below. Make sure you click on that and follow. It's been a lot of fun. She's a great person. She talked a lot about parenting. She's got 3 little ones of her own, so she's going through all this stuff, the same stuff we're going through. So she had a couple of good points when it came to setting proper expectations. So if you know of somebody, or if you got a friend that would love this content, make sure you share it. And when you do, you tell them you love them.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from, with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.